In this story of the Nativity of John the Baptist, I am particularly amazed by what we see in Zechariah. Now, Zechariah is actually really the first person that's introduced as part of Luke's gospel. And at the time that we see Zechariah, he and his wife, Elizabeth, are well past child-rearing years. And it's in this moment that Zechariah has the angel Gabriel come to him. And Gabriel tells him that in spite of all these facts, Elizabeth is going to give birth to a son who's to be named John. And that this son is going to be one of the great prophets of Israel. And as we heard in Zechariah's song, that he's even going to be the one to prepare the way for the Lord. Now, Zechariah hears all this, and his response is the equivalent of, yeah, sure, okay, I'm going to need to see some proof. He says this to an angel, no less. That should be his proof right there. And so the angel Gabriel responds likewise and says, okay, you want proof? Well, you're going to be struck mute until the child is born. How's that for proof? Now, for many of us, when we face bad things in our lives, when we face hardships, we can become angry at God, even if what happens to us is something we deserve. We can even turn away from following the Lord. But that's not what Zechariah does. He continues on this path, waiting and waiting. And when his son is born, when the world around him expects to follow the traditions of naming the child after himself or even one of his family members, Zechariah instead continues to go and follow the Lord's will. And in doing so, insists that the name of the child is John. And when he does so, when he gets his voice back after doing so, the first words he gives are in praise of God. Now, we all face hardships in our lives. We all suffer the bad at times. And it's easy in those moments for us to be angry at God, to be angry that we are having to face these hardships. It's easy for us to do that instead of waiting in patience for what God has in store for us. So my hope is that we can follow in the tradition of Zechariah, that we can follow in his footsteps and continue in our life of faith to continue to follow God's will no matter what. That we, like Zechariah, can wait in those bad moments. That we can wait. And as we are waiting, that we can be expectant and hopeful for what is to come. That we can look forward to the good that God is leading us in. So as we suffer in the bad times, let us look to hope. Look to hope and remember that God is with us in those times, leading us to what the good is that is to come.